Time to do some sketchy shit. Doo-dah, doo-dah. Hope I get away with it. Oh, da doo-dah day.
This town needs an enema.
Good evening and welcome to Stupid O'Clock's Saturday Night Show. I'm here with the whole gang. We got Joe Dog, we got Dan Hollyfield, we got Bill Sartain, and Rich is here with us tonight early on. How's everybody?
I'm going to put some eyes on my patriotic sock puppet.
Googly eyes. Gotta be googly eyes.
It
Joe,
should.
Joe, you're muted.
That looks like the sock puppet from our thing, like this.
Although I don't think Bill's sock puppet is doing questionable chemical substances from the 60s.
How do you know that?
Doesn't it?
No, it's just doing chemicals from the 21st century that the doctors prescribed.
I should get some googly eyes for it.
Yeah.
Hey, Rick,
Okay,
There was a. Let me do this real quick. Hey, Donna. Hey, Carl. There we go. Okay. And Carl finally found his. Okay, there was this show, and I can't remember if it's PBS or Nickelodeon or one of these. I think it was Kids Nick or something like that. But they did this thing, PBS Kids or something, called Ubi.
Oh, God, I hate that
show. But it's brilliant. Okay, the character is a hand with a ring with two sets of little googly eyes on it. So the whole thing, the Ubi is a hand. The whole show.
Ooby dooby.
Yeah, with two little ping pong ball eyeballs type on the ring. And everyone in the show is a hand puppet with googly eyes. So, think about it. It probably their costume department probably cost them $5. Right?
If that. Because I think you could get those things for like 50 cents out of a gumball machine.
Exactly.
I have a question, not to deter from.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, and I noticed this Thursday, so I don't know if I'm the only one seeing this at the beginning of the show or if the rest of you are. When you do the intro and you do the sketchy shit, dude, and Joker, and the horse with Svengoolie's rubber chicken, all that, is one, it used to be that you could see the whole image or video centered with the stupid o'clock.
And now it's like a letterbox kind of thing.
Well, I'm seeing, the black and white wallpaper that's behind us right now for the clocks, the stupid clock wallpaper or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I see half of it coming down vertically through one half of each one of those little segments that you do during the beginning intro.
When was the last time you had your eyes checked?
Over a year.
Well, there's a simple explanation for that, Bill. The original opening sequence wound up getting corrupted while we were not using it, and Joe Dog had to rebuild it from scratch, which is one of the reasons why. No, it's not Joe's fault. Joe didn't do anything to damage it. He repaired it as best he can. It's not his fault the duct tape shows every once in a while.
John brought Joe Dog the wrong brain to put in the monster.
Abby's someone.
Abby's something.
Yeah.
Abby.
Abnormal? Yes, Abby normal.
Normal. There you go. Okay, I just wondered.
There's a perfectly logical explanation for it that we've never bothered to divulge because we hoped that nobody would notice the sticky tape and splices.
Are you talking about that little line across the top?
It actually goes vertical, halfway. Like if you see me now, the right half going down all the way over is the black and white clock wallpaper. It looks like it's like a ghost image of that coming down halfway through the center of each one of those little, the sketchy shit and the Joker segment and all the rest of it, the horse segment and everything.
Now
Maybe
that
you
bit
should
I don't
complain to your
see.
internet provider. Go over across the hall and knock on his door.
Yeah,
It's too cold out there right now to do that. I checked my mail and it's snowing here.
Oh, really? Lucky you. We're just gonna get cold.
It's very cold.
We got it dusting here.
There you go.
I believe I'll be satisfied with cold. I don't really want any snow. It's hard enough to get to work in the morning with the 15, 40 mile an hour school buses I got to dodge.
Let me correct myself. It's flurries, but it's wet flurries, and with it being cold, that can make the roads a little nasty.
It's slush that might turn to ice.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. And I'm dodging deer and coyotes as it is coming back today. I went to my niece's 14th birthday party at the skating rink. I'm just now regaining my hearing back because it's so loud there from the music and the kids and the video games and everything else. But
welcome to middle age, Bill.
Middle.
I just went back to the YouTube play of it. It's during the intro song. Yeah, it's from an old file that's messed up.
In other words, don't worry about it. We can't fix it. It'll be all right.
I mean, everybody still sees what they've seen before. It's just there's a little bit of, and it kind of goes with the next part of the intro and all that. But that was us today. That's my favorite niece, which I jokingly call her that because she's my only niece. But no, it kind of goes with the rest of it, of the intro. And I mean, I wouldn't worry about it. I just didn't know if I was going, because, Wi-Fi here is wonky at best.
Well, evidently.
I'm not seeing it looking at the replay.
Look at the
Evidently,
one from Thursday night, that intro, because I saw the same thing on that intro. But anyway,
lost the thread. Okay, well, if it's important, I'll remember. Oh,
Dan, I got something at the auction Friday night, and
the man from Uncle's lunchbox? Not the man from Uncle lunchbox, but the actual
Close.
Robert Vaughn lunchbox.
it's a Victrola Journey Plus record player.
I bet that's a gear drive too. I'd love to have a gear drive stereo, so
Yeah,
stop having to buy rubber bands to play records with again.
it is. This one was made in 2020. It's Bluetooth compatible.
Ooh.
And I got it for, well, I think if you go to Target or wherever now, you're going to pay like $159, and I got it for 22 something, I forget. They had two of them there. But the only thing that did not come with was a 5-volt, 1 amp power adapter that it plugs in back here. You got your line in, line out stuff. And so got on Amazon and sent the link to Laura because she's got the Prime membership. I don't. And they had one on there for like $8.
That's a very good price.
Well, Amazon usually is.
Radio Shack used to make one that had different tips and different sizes, and if it was for some reason the polarity was different from one device to another, you could actually reverse the tip, and it was switchable between about 4 or 5 different power outputs. And it cost less than $10.
Yeah, I had
Did
one. It went from like 3 volts up to 12 volts, up to a full amp.
Okay, let me ask you this. Okay, mine's 5-volt, 1 amp. The first one I looked at on Amazon was a 9-volt, 2 amp. Theoretically, would that work or not?
It'd pop it like a overinflated balloon.
It'd burn it up.
Okay, that's why I wondered.
You can't put too many amps through something.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going.
Well, you can, but yeah, you'll ruin it.
Once.
You only do it once.
Yeah.
If you do it more than once, it's called arc welding.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Carl,
Dan.
believe me, I wish Radio Shack had never discovered cell phones, because they were so useful before they decided that they were going to be everybody's market to cell phones and nothing else.
It's what killed it.
Yeah, I would spend $100 a month there.
I've
Seriously.
spent a whole paycheck.
I have gone in there and got them to order 300 watt speakers for when I was in the garage band. And they go, okay, it'll be here Tuesday. I go, well, I'm working Tuesday. You'll be closed by the time I get off. Can you hold it till Saturday? And they go, yes, sir.
Hold that up
We'll
again,
take
Rich.
your money.
I remember when.
Oh, yes.
Oh, there you go. There you
The
go.
you-
My computer and cell phone tools.
Uh-huh.
Now, I remember when Radio Shack, after everybody had gone digital with the barcode scanners and everything, Radio Shack was still the handwritten ticket.
Mm-hmm.
They were one of the last ones to accept the barcodes.
And my soldering iron is somewhere back there.
I need to get me a new soldering iron.
And at one time they
I got 3
actually
of them somewhere.
sold the Realistic brand, and you could get pretty decent stereo equipment for cheap.
Mhm.
I mean, and you knew it was about the same price as going to a pawn shop, but you knew it was brand new out of the box. And they made a 6-channel mixing board,
Yep.
which came in handy with the garage band, because I bought 2 of those things and rigged them up between line ends from the different instruments and microphones hanging from the ceiling. I had a 12-channel mixing board for less than $100, and it worked.
I had, and I wish I still had it, had a soldering iron that had interchangeable tips,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the tips was a knife blade.
Hmm.
So you could have a hot knife and like,
Oh,
Yeah.
very good for plastics and styrofoam and stuff.
One of mine's
Roll.
also for pyrography, but it's also a soldering iron. So
I do believe one of the hobby shops still sells that a soldering iron with that knife blade tip, and I don't know if it's the horrible Hobby Lobby that was selling Middle Eastern artifacts as decorative junk, or if it was Michael's. I'm praying it's Michael's because I don't go to Hobby Lobby anymore.
Hobby Lobby.
Oh, that's
I
too
think
bad.
Menards might have one that has, if not a
Hobby-
knife tip, extremely close to it.
Yep.
Hobby Lobby has an extensive supply of that stuff. There's like a whole aisle of it.
I know, and Michael's does as well, or did before they moved the store. Now it's 99% of it is permanent Christmas ornaments, and I'm going,
Mm,
somebody might need some paint or canvas or something.
Wasn't me.
Why me?
My phone don't make that noise.
That was my watch.
Oh,
Oh, Laura's telling me she's going to bed. Okay.
Oh,
I got antsy today, and I made a homemade chicken pot pie. Sitting down in the oven right now, cooling, and the whole house smells like chicken pot pie.
we'll be right over. Well, Lindsay made some homemade soup today, but I do believe it is either a potato soup or I can't remember what the ingredients were that she had me buy, but it's something that required half and half to cream it up a bit.
That could either be potato soup or soupa Toscana.
Or a cauliflower soup.
Yeah. So I don't know. I didn't have any. So I had a rather large sandwich that she had made for me Friday to take to work, and that, along with the rest of the stuff that she packed in my lunch, I did not have room to eat at work, so I brought it home, and I'm going, no, that's going to be when I get hungry. If not late tonight, then Saturday. And sure enough, Saturday, I got hungry and ate the sandwich.
I went grocery shopping at Ingles Wednesday, and just always go through the meat section to see if they got anything on sale. They have all their Thanksgiving hams and turkeys out. I was going through. I found a medium-sized butterball turkey. $13.
Mm.
And I was like, it's frozen solid.
Yeah.
It's a bowling ball, but hey.
Hey, Lindsay's got a coupon from somewhere for a free 3-pound butterball turkey loaf. Basically, it's all breast, but she had me looking for it in Kroger, and they didn't carry it. So she's going to go to Ingles probably Monday after she goes to her not substitute teacher, a teacher's aide thing at the elementary school within a mile of the Ingalls, and she'll look for it there while I'm still at work. And hey, if she finds it, it's free with the coupon, and it's a Butterball coupon. It's not a store coupon, so.
Oh, okay. I love that Butterball has that hotline that you can call, and like if you never have made a turkey before in your life, they will guide you through the whole thing. WGN Radio, right around Thanksgiving, they have one of the women from that Butterball hotline on there. And they have her on there for an hour. All these people call in with their questions to the radio station. But
that's a useful service.
Oh yeah, very much.
I'm looking at their sales paper right now, online. How nice. Butterball frozen turkeys, 10 to 24 pounds, 98 cents a pound.
Now, you said 24 pounds. I heard on the Noon Farm Report on Friday, they said you may have a hard time finding the larger turkeys because of that avian bird flu that they've had this year. They had to put a lot of them down, and so the ones that were okay were not full grown yet. So you could get up to a medium.
Hey, Carrie.
Hello.
Yep, and then there's the folks with small families that have the opposite problem of needing a tiny thing that's not going to dry out and need to be turned into cat food in a couple of days. The smaller, you would think that nowadays people would be used to not only large families but small families as well, and make provisions. But it gets a little weird, or maybe because there are more small families nowadays, those things sell out quickly. I don't know. I'll leave that as an exercise to the more astute among us.
You do have a lot of the millennials and older Gen Z kids and stuff like that that are starting to get into marriage and stuff like that, and the younger Gen Xers that are, the total dink crowd, double income, no kids. They've seen what their siblings are like. They like nope. So I'm guessing it's probably heavily in favor of that. But we still have an insane population growth, so.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm just not feeling it. I tried.
No.
It's okay. Go get you
better,
some
man.
rest. Yeah.
I tried.
We won't get you kicked off for Christmas. I promise.
And
We'll get you kicked off for Thanksgiving.
And there's why he's worried about going to bed. You shouldn't have said anything.
All right, Rob. I'm fighting the bug. I don't know if it's a flu, just a cold, or Rona has showed back up. But I'm not feeling good, so I'm gonna bow out and let you guys have it.
All righty. Well,
Feel better.
John's in the command chair, so everything's fine. Even if I, hey,
I'm getting ready to do the stupid o'clock annual turkey drop.
I swear, as God is my witness, I thought turkeys could fly.
well, they can, just not very well.
And the thing is, I found out that was not run in November. It was the original air date was October 30th. So, yeah, all that. I'll talk to you guys later. This headache.
Okay.
All right.
Feel better.
better.
Take care.
If I can figure out how to get the hell out of here. It asked you 5 times, do you really want to leave?
Anyway,
All right. Now that he's gone, bring on the dancing girls. Oh, but I jest, but only slightly. Ah,
Well, I can bring a dancing robot, but that's about it.
not the same thing. Not the same thing
I
at all.
know. I
Well,
know, but it's still unique.
it may be the same thing in another 20 years, but yeah, that's something I want to see.
I could do a dancing Richard Nixon back here, or Iron Man, or Superman, or Spider-Man, or Batman and Robin, or I
Now,
got Snake Eyes too.
now
He's a ninja, so I never see him.
imagine the faces of the folks at the Batteries Plus store when you bring in your AI dancing girl and to have the batteries changed because you can't figure out how to get the little door open on the back. Gotta have a special screwdriver, man. It's one of them Torx things.
I don't know. I think that's something for the green room.
Star
Yeah.
bit. It's a star bit. That's all it is. It's okay. It's okay.
I don't care who she bit.
And I don't know why I'm talking like Carl from Caddyshack right now, but no.
If I kill all the gophers, they'll lock me at the door with the key.
Hmm.
Cinderella story.
I was reading something the other day that the gopher was added at the last minute, and they went back and reshot all the scenes with the gopher in it,
Mm.
just to
Oh,
add it
damn
at the
it.
last.
Just to add it at the last minute because somebody thought of it. Okay.
Which, of course, everybody knows it with the gopher, so it's funny as hell. But, there are a lot of movies where the producers made stupid additions or took something out that would have really made their movie, at the
Even better. Yeah.
Exactly. The producers at MGM, when they were doing The Wizard of Oz, and they were doing the final editing, they wanted to cut the scene where Judy Garland sings Somewhere Over the Rainbow. They didn't want the song in the movie.
Mhm.
Said it has nothing to do with the movie. It's too sappy. It's just, we don't need it in the movie. And they argued, and they finally got it edited into the movie, and it won the Grammy.
Yeah. Yeah. That would have been one of those tragic mistakes if you'd ever seen the director's cut. You go, "Oh, this is much better."
If you the director's cut of the movie Aliens,
Mm-hmm.
the ones where the colonial marines go in and try and rescue the people, there's this great scene where they had the automated guns. Okay. If you've never seen it, it's awesome. You need to go find this thing. You can find it on YouTube. But it was after they got their butts kicked trying to go in and rescue the people from the aliens, and there's only a few surviving Marines left. They hold up at the command post or whatever, and they were defending the command post with these sentry guns. It's about 14 minutes of awesomeness if you ever get a chance to see it. So that's...
I was watching Dr. Sardonicus on Svengoolie tonight. I can't think of the guy's name in the, not Victor Mature. What was his name? The Dr. Sardonicus. So anyway, at the end of, spoilers, people, which this movie came out almost 60 years ago, so I think it's okay to tell at the end where he's kind of running amok because everything with his eyes are going wrong now, and he's basically x-raying people and stuff, and he pokes his eyes out. And supposedly the original ending at the end of the movie, after he poked his eyes out and you just saw the blood in the eye sockets, they
bought him a Red Ryder BB gun.
Exactly. The original ending was he said I can still see, because he poked his eyes out because he couldn't control it anymore, and he thought that was the only way of saving himself or whatever, or putting it into it.
Are you
And
sure?
but
Are you sure that was Sardonicus and not
yeah.
the man with the X-ray
Oh
eye?
no, Man with the X-Ray Eyes. I'm sorry, Dr.
Yeah,
Sardonicus. I just watched that a couple weeks ago.
yeah, that would have been Ray Milland.
Ray Milland. Yeah, there you go.
Wasn't he
Getting my
the man with two heads? Wasn't he the second head?
yes.
No.
Rosie Greer was the first one.
Yeah, Rosie Greer
Oh,
was the.
okay. Yeah. Okay.
But anyway, yeah, he goes. The police are after him because he knocked the one doctor out the window and to his death, and then he comes up on a church tent revival, Chautauqua type revival, and that's where he pokes his eyes out. But apparently, Roger Corman had the original "I can still see" comment by Ray Milland to knock it out entirely. That you see the bloody eye sockets, and then that's the end of the movie, which is how we know it. And Sven was talking about it at the end of the movie, but he said that he didn't really give a reason other than he just thought it didn't end as good, and he didn't want people to think that there was going to be a sequel to that movie because apparently it was not one of his Corman's favorite movies to make.
I want to talk. Joe mentioned earlier about John sitting in the command chair, and it got me thinking about this. Pissed me off royally. Okay, I keep getting these ads pop up on my Bing feed or whatever you want to call it, Microsoft thing. And this one popped up, and I went and clicked on it. And I thought, oh my god, that's what I want for Christmas. This would be so cool. Okay, it's the captain's chair from Star Trek. Hang on a minute. I'll bring it up here to show you. It's one for captain's chair from Star Trek First Contact, from the Enterprise E, right? And I thought, oh, that would be so cool to have in your room. And I brought it up and started looking at reading about it, and it's only $200. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. And I got to look at it's a 1/6 scale.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. If you got a hamster, that's fine. For the hamster.
Which I always thought that particular chair always looked like an old-fashioned barbershop chair to me.
Kind of, but I'm like, that would be a cool gaming chair, especially if there's if they've got like a place in the arms for like recharging your cell phone or something like that. That would be awesome.
If you had the child Grogu pet stuffed little toy, that would fit perfect in there, and it would piss off 2 franchises at once.
I would like to have the original series captain's chair because the way it's built, can you imagine mini refrigerator on one side and the bottom, and then storage for everything else on the other side? And just like John said, recharging center for various things.
If I ever win the lottery and build my house the way I want it to, I'm going. You know how some people have home theaters, and they'll actually put in theater chairs and stuff like that. Some of them even have the sloped floors and things of that nature. I want a gaming room that is the bridge to the Starship Enterprise. But each station is a PC gaming console or something of that nature.
No bloody A, B, C, or D, right?
My virtual background for
Now,
Zoom for work is the bridge of the Enterprise D.
my friend Chris Doohan, he does that Star Trek Continues thing, the fan-made stuff that they've been doing.
Yeah.
And it was one of their people. Just they designed the whole bridge, and then um, whatchamacallit room, where the transporters and everything is, so and the guy, when he designed it, he had no contact with Doohan or anybody else. He just did it for himself. It was going to be his man cave, and he did 2 different rooms, and and he didn't go out and buy these sets from Paramount or anything. He reproduced everything, every last piece himself. And Doohan was so enamored by it. He come over and he said, this is great. And I guess they were doing a lot of photo ops and that. And then somebody mentioned, hey, we ought to do a show on there. And then next thing you know, the Star Trek Continues got started.
And they're doing very good work. I mean, seriously, they're doing some good work.
I like watching them.
Yeah.
The coolest man cave I saw, and it was a few years ago. Someone had a small little alcove that had a bust of William Shakespeare. You tilt the head back, you push the button, the wall slides. His man cave, hey Barry, his man cave was the Bat Cave.
I think that particular Star Trek set is over in Georgia somewhere, close to the Georgia-Florida border.
Sounds like Valdosta.
Yeah, it do. Down there down there close to where they grow them Vidalia onions that are so nice. Of course, that would be Vidalia, not Valdosta. Yes, I realize. Please don't write in comments, folks. I do have a firm grasp of geography. Thank you.
Send your comments to Dan Hollifield and Kara Stupid O'Clock.
Yeah, that way John has to read them, not me. Or Joe Dog, and they'll certainly get ignored.
Send them to dan.hollifield at notmyrealemail.com.
P.O. Box 9847.
I know the
You
guy.
get that reference, Dan?
I know the guy who developed the Star Trek Continues series, the fan series, is actually going to be here in the Chattanooga area next year. So it's going to be pretty interesting to meet him again.
That's turning into a sore subject, and I'm not saying it just because it hurts to sit down, but I could not get my computer to refresh the page to get us room reservations for LibertyCon.
Ooh.
So Lindsay and I and Lindsay and I may have to roll over our memberships for next year. They have expanded the room block and
did they?
they did the same day, but the thing was, I was at work. I was not on my home computer, which would have done everything I needed to do. My work computer is budget, and it's just anyway. I missed out. I didn't get there in time, and didn't get the room reservations. We've got the membership, so we can just roll it over if we have to. And the thing is, if I can't find a doctor that can do something about this pain, I may not be going to any more conventions.
Well, hopefully that won't be the case. But
the trip home from HallowCon was very much a major pain. I did have to pull over 2 or 3 times and walk around for about 10 or 15 minutes so I could sit down again to make a few more miles. That's one reason why there's not a last man standing tonight, and may not be a last man standing for some time, because I can do the 2 hours for stupid o'clock. I can do a few, I can go to the green room for a little while, and everybody understands when I go, yep, I gotta go. I can't sit down any longer. But this is I mean, people at work are starting to worry about me. They notice I'm off my game by quite a lot. So um, this is some serious stuff here.
So, have you
Not a chew toy.
seen a doctor about this? I mean,
I,
have you got any feedback from them yet, or?
it's the weekend. I've got the phone number of somebody in my insurance group that they'll take my work insurance. I have not been able to make an appointment yet.
Oh, okay.
So I've got to call them, make an appointment, take a vacation day for whenever the appointment is, and until then, it's just basically palliative care. Whatever painkillers my body can tolerate for, um, well, I want to say brief periods of time, but I can't take too much of anything because I don't want to damage my body. But
Right.
no,
And that's why I switch up a lot. I had I'm using this nasal spray for my sinuses drainage, and that which it's working beautifully, but I'm getting horrible sinus headaches still, and then the back of my neck, and that real bad. Well, I was using the CBD cream and the CBD pills off and on, and when it got too bad, then that's when I went for the Tylenol, because I was using the other more often. It made the Tylenol work better and quicker.
hmm
And I will continue to try to do that way for as long as I possibly can. And so I totally understand your end of it.
Neutral Zone Studios. Yes, thank you, Kerry. Uh,
Now, something that you mentioned about LibertyCon and rolling over,
mhm.
well, can you reserve a room for the following year since you can't get into this next
No,
one?
they won't.
No,
No.
They
no,
won't open up the
they
room block
they
until
they
that
can't
week.
do that. They can't do that. But
That's the hotel. That's not the convention.
if we roll over our memberships, we don't have to pay again. They're set up for that year. You can roll over your memberships 2 years in a row, and that's it. And then the only challenge will be, hopefully I will not be at work when it's the time to reserve the rooms. The
So,
the the problem is that previously we would uh, book the rooms, and the hotel knew there was a mix between the time the convention was actually occurring, convention rate, and extra days on bookending that weekend, which were at the full hotel rate because it wasn't part of the convention discount. But the computer at that hotel does not recognize the existence of that fact. So um,
mm,
it's kind of weird, but that's
well, I
just one
was
of those
thinking
things. Progress
that
marches on, and sometimes it tramples people underneath. It's not
if,
it's not anybody at LibertyCon's fault. It's
right,
the
the
hotel upper management
hotel,
that says you've got to use this program. You can't use this program that used to be so much more convenient. I'm not blaming anybody except the people at work that bought a computer that I can't hit refresh on a browser and have it actually refresh.
mm, I would think that the people at the hotel, I'm not saying that they're stupid for not doing this, or maybe I am, I don't know, that if for all the people who had memberships, when it come time to reserve the room, um, like if you were on a waiting or watch list or whatever, that when those blocks of rooms became available, that you would get a notification. It would not reserve it for you, but it would be like me ordering a figure from Sideshow, because if I'm watching a certain item, then Sideshow notifies me when the item is all of a sudden ready to ship, as opposed to pre-order.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking of something similar for the hotel to do for LibertyCon, which of course they would require effort on their part, and that may be the reason why it won't work. But
Bill,
they,
Bill, you're mixing apples and oranges here. The hotel just takes the room reservations. Notification that the room block is open, that's done on the convention website. And they did put everything up on
okay,
time.
so
It's just the computer I was using is an idiot that wouldn't refresh the page completely. So the link to go, okay, it's time to reserve right now, did not show up on my screen until I was just about to go home. I've been hitting refresh all day long, and it finally worked. But the room block was sold out by that time. It was my computer at work. It was not the hotel. It was not the convention committee. They did everything that they were supposed to do, and they did everything
so
right.
you knew it. You knew that it was open then.
No, I didn't know until it was too late because of my computer
Oh,
at
okay.
work. I knew
Okay.
the day it was supposed to come open, and I started checking first thing soon as I got to work, and it did not refresh the page fully. It's my computer
Okay.
at work. It's not LibertyCon. It's not the hotel. It's the computer I was using at work. Uh,
And I'm guessing you don't have a smartphone then
I've got
that
a
would do the same thing.
I've got a smartphone that refuses to go online.
Oh, okay.
So
You got a smart ass phone.
yeah, really.
Yeah, dumbass phone.
You don't need to do that. No,
What are you, a teenager? Get off the damn phone.
It's trying to save you money,
Really?
Dan.
yeah, I know. People with much more expensive phones and larger phone bills can do anything they want, and ours did anything we wanted when we first got it. But now it's a couple of years old. It's been updated a couple of times, and bits and pieces of functionality have ceased to be functional.
I want to show y'all something.
Well,
To get totally off track, I
Yeah,
want to
really.
show y'all something. I have noticed that Florida, and I don't know why, Florida has a lot of multi-million-dollar or possibly multi-billion-dollar public works projects that fall through. Are any of you familiar with what I'm talking about?
Flagler Highway.
Well, hang on a minute. Let me show you one of the ones I got. A long time ago, they wanted to build a canal across Florida so that ships wouldn't have to go all the way around the Florida Keys to get from the Gulf of Mexico up the East Coast, particularly smaller ships. Now, let me show you something. They actually started work on this canal. Let me see if I can find the other part of it here. See, that was the first part. And then, let's see here. You come up here. There's a river that it kind of follows.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find the rest of it here. Well, there it is. Sorry. Comes down to this river. And then it was supposed to come across here. And you can see where they've actually dug out sections of it.
Yeah.
Okay. And they bought all the land for this. Okay. This is literally millions of dollars of flipping real estate investment in this thing. Let's see if I can find the rest of it here.
and what was the purpose of this, John?
They were going to build a canal across Florida.
Oh, canal. Okay.
So that small ships, and it was eventually, this was going to be the other end of it, was down here. So small ships would come in down the river here, get into the canal, and they could cut across to here without having to go all the way down here.
All the way
Cuba.
around. Yeah.
Right. And it would essentially what they were going to do is they were going to link these two big, well, you got Jacksonville, Savannah, Charleston, Wilmington, and Norfolk. And they were going to, of course, you got the, what's the Air Force base or the Marine base down here? Pensacola. They're going to link Pensacola, Mobile, and all this. So it was going to be basically for high-speed military traffic, without having to get really close to communist Cuba. And they literally got it almost, if I remember correctly, it was almost 60% completed with land acquisitions and starting to dig the canal and everything. And then somewhere down the line, they just said, diesel engines are getting a lot better. Forget it. We're just the other one they did, of course, all the traffic coming into Florida. You got Disney World in Orlando. You got all the people going to Daytona Beach and watching the rockets launch over here at Cape Canaveral, and then Miami Beach and Fort Myers. This whole area is just one big tourist trap, basically, right? So to take advantage of it, they were going to build the world's largest international airport with high-speed, had its own highway. They were going to have high-speed rail and all sort of stuff connecting all these cities out in the middle of the Everglades National Park. Okay.
I'll tell you what, that failed already.
It's there. They actually built the damn runways and everything. It's just somewhere in it, everybody said, and the reason they were building that here, and it's kind of smart. This was back when the Concorde was first being developed.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And everyone was bitching about the sound, the noise the supersonic aircraft made.
And you're not going to get too many alligators writing their congressman going, hey, this airport's too loud.
It's the middle of no damn where. Okay. And that was the idea, of course, was, put them way out here. And then they were going to have they're going to have railroads along this Highway 41 going to Fort Myers and Miami. And of course, they were going to have high-speed rail up and down the coast on either side, going to Disney World, things of that nature. And just they literally give you an idea. There's this huge damn runway for supersonic aircraft, right? The National Guard is using it for vehicle training.
Well, at least it's being used for something.
Really?
They're going out there and they're training their truck drivers. That's it. So.
Well, John, I think I might have an answer to the reason why they couldn't finish that canal work on Florida. And actually, I have a video of it, of what they thought they were going to get into.
That's probably it right there.
Yeah. So, but no,
take it away, South America.
Yeah.
Please. Was that out loud?
So, who's selling their Bitcoin now that it's worth less than a third of what it was a year ago? Everybody's freaking out. It's going to be 1929 all over again, and all these
we're
Bitcoin
have Bitcoin owners jumping off of virtual skyscrapers.
I think they're going to jump off the real ones. I think they will, because they're freaking. They what that one's already gone into Chapter 11 bankruptcy, and they are talking like they may not come out. They may be
Bitcoin
done.
Came up almost 0.5% today.
Yeah. Oh, the stock market rebounded. Oh, what was it? Oh, the elections. The elections.
It was last Wednesday or Thursday, I think it was. They had it was a
record setting.
They called it an upward fluctuation. I love when they say that kind of stuff.
I tell you, early last year, I made a big mistake at putting in a little bit of money into Bitcoin, and after I did that, the price just
so it's your fault.
Plummeted, yeah.
what you get for buying our Bitcoin, man.
I would never. It's like, here, let me sell you this. No, you can't have it, but I'll just make it look on paper that you do.
Well, of course, the Federal Reserve does the same damn thing. They give you
Oh, I know,
paper,
but
tell you it's
still,
worth something. But
but it's not like, putting something into a Roth IRA or something like that. I mean,
there is this old guy here in Chattanooga. His commercials are all over the radio, and he keeps telling you he runs a gold and jewelry shop. Right? He keeps telling you need to buy gold.
Rick
And
Davis.
Thank you, Rick Davis, gold jewelry. And I love his old commercials because they used to show him sitting in his office there, and there's a short there. He's got a shotgun hanging on the wall behind him. Like, yeah, rob my jewelry store. It's like a little Mossberg 500 Persuader with the pistol grip on the back end of it.
That's a nice shotgun.
It is.
That reminds me of the old commercials back in the late 70s, early 80s. I think the guy was out of Terre Haute or Indianapolis, and it was Don's Guns. And he says, I don't like to make money. I just love to sell guns. Like he always ended every commercial. He ended it with that.
Oh, here we go. Hang on a second. I hope he doesn't sue me over this, but let me see. Well, darn it. It won't let me do what I want to do. No. Oh, darn it. Oh, no wonder. Chattanooga Times Free Press. That's why it's a newspaper thing. Let's see here. Oh, darn it. There we go. All right. See, I got to bring this up here. All right, let's see if I can get Joe kicked off for Christmas.
Well, we told him Thanksgiving, so.
All right. There's Rick Davis. Yeah. And I kid you not,
Yeah.
There on the wall behind him.
And
What
this
the
is
hell
not a
kinda-
replica, folks. It's a 12 gauge with a pistol grip.
Is Rick in? All of a sudden in the back of the story, you're.
Who's asking?
I'll take that as a yes. He's in. Okay.
We got a commercial for a heating and air conditioning place here locally, and the guy who owns it, his name is Frank, and on the radio commercials they say, and he always answers the phone. It's basically bashing all the other companies that have the automated answer things where you got to jump through all the hoops to get to talk to a real person. And they say, Frank always answers the phone. And then you hear him say, hello, this is Frank. And then through the commercial, which is probably not even 30 seconds long, 3 or 4 times, hello, this is Frank. And I always I thought, I'm going to call that place someday and see if that actually happens. I want to do that.
We get WGN out of Chicago here on the cable in channel. I think they're nationwide.
WGN America, which is it's not like the local WGN, but yes.
But I can still remember from when I was a kid in high school. Okay. 588-2300
Empire.
Which is probably one of the greatest advertising campaigns in history because literally everybody remembers that damn phone number. It's right up there of 867-5309. Okay.
It's
Another
actually
one
a
is,
nationwide
Luna.
commercial.
It is, but we do not have. Now, I live near Dalton, Georgia, which is the carpet capital of the world. Okay. We don't have Empire Carpet in this area, but strange enough, you can still call them, and they will send somebody out to put carpet in your house. Has nothing to do with them. It's. I don't know how they do it, but
there used to be a commercial. This is back in the late 70s on WGN TV that I used to
Kung Fu
see.
Theater, was it?
No, but it was for a car dealership. And this,
Crazy Eddie? Because his prices are insane.
no, this guy, he kind of looked like Tyler Perry, and he was dressed to the hilt like he had, you know, a whole slew full of prostitutes in the back seat of this Cadillac or whatever. But he had two women in the commercial, all dressed rather.
Provocative.
They were very shapely women. I'll put it that way. And he would be talking about the cars, and he's showing you the car, which would probably been like a 78 or 79 LTD or whatever, you know, Cadillac or Eldorado Fleetwood was one of them, I remember. And then he would say, and he's showing the back end of one of these women right after that, and he'd say, "Look at that classy chassis." And I never forgot that. This has been 50 years ago, and I still remember him saying, "Look at that classy chassis."
Yep. I remember all the commercials on 96 Rock, and I'm wondering, do I still have a friend in the diamond business? But oh, I can't even remember who they are now. Who that company was?
Rick. What's his name again, Kerry? Rick.
Rick Davis.
Rick Davis, your friend in the diamond business.
No. This was that was not the name. It was a.
I believe that's one of his taglines, though.
Yeah. But the guy spoke like somebody had a clothespin on his nose. I mean,
now, did you guys have the Earl Scheib commercials down that way?
Yep.
Because I remember those
we
quite.
We used to have an Earl Scheib. I want to say it was on Dodds Avenue, but I might be wrong about that. And we'll paint any car for $99.95.
Mm-hmm. And you saw Earl on the commercial.
They
I think the closest
the windshields or the hubcaps or the fenders or the headlights.
That's all extra.
Yep.
My brother got an Earl Scheib paint job one time on a 73 Barracuda, and he said never ever got. Well, the closest Earl Scheib we had, I believe, was over in Indy. And so I'm pretty certain that's where he had to go to get it done. And he just said, never again.
I saw a guy, he bought this old car real cheap, but it needed paint. And he had done all the body work and everything. But he was taking in Earl Scheib's. He was doing his own, and he came, I was working at Hart's Auto Parts at the time. And he came in to buy the tape and paper to put over everything so he could take it and get it painted. And it was the most brilliant thing I'd ever seen. He took a sponge and a can of Ajax scouring powder and went over the entire car with water, Ajax scouring powder, and a sponge and got all the wax off of it. And scoured all the paint. Not hard scour, but just a nice, soft scour on everything.
A nice texture,
Off
so
real
paint the
good.
stick.
Use the sponge, rinse it off real good, got everything clean, nice and clean, and then taped it. And the tape and paper on everything, it came back. That thing looked like it'd come right out of the damn GM factory.
I wonder how long it lasted, though.
Hey.
Earl Scheib was so famous that they actually included it in the movie Roxanne, where Steve Martin was doing the Cyrano de Bergerac thing.
Right.
And that's as original as you can be, and then, I don't remember how he got to the Earl Scheib, I'm Earl Scheib, I'll paint that nose for $39.95.
Okay. Speaking of Cyrano de Bergerac, what's his name? Jose Ferrer played the Emperor in Dune, in David Lynch's Dune. Played Cyrano de Bergerac, and there's this awesome scene. You can find it. I'll put it on Stupid O'Clock later. There's this awesome scene from the movie where somebody tries to insult him. Okay. About his nose. And he turns around and he insults the guy's ability to insult him. He says, "That's it? That's the best you could come up with? You could have said," and he just went into this huge litany of all the different insults that he could have possibly done to his nose. And he said, "And the best you could come up with is your nose is rather large." Like, you're an idiot.
That's the same thing that got translated into Roxanne. But then again, I mean, it's a modern version of that as well. And it's Steve Martin just pulled it off beautifully.
Oh, he does. Have you ever seen him actually play banjo? I mean,
oh yes,
seriously. I mean,
him and the something Canyon.
Steep Canyon Rangers.
Yes. They are spectacular. The man is even back in the day, the man was frightening with his ability to switch between different things. I mean, he is the living embodiment of what vaudeville is still today.
Yeah, he's not with them anymore. He would occasionally. Yeah, he doesn't go on tour with them, I'll put it that way. Occasionally he will set in one of the venues, but he doesn't do that much. I don't know if you looked at the post I did. I think it was last night. But Riders in the Sky are just celebrating their 45th anniversary, and they're still going. The ones had heart problems, and it was a little iffy. I can't remember if that was Ranger Doug or Too Slim. It might have been Too Slim. And but I love them. Very, very, very briefly, they had a Saturday morning kind of Pee Wee Herman Playhouse-esque type show that it was kind of supposed to be for kids, but kind of a cowboy western version of a Saturday morning show, and I loved that show. And yes, I knew it. Yeah, it just it was beyond its time. Maybe 20 years before it might have done a lot better, but I got it because they're trying to bring back a genre.
We finally got another Russian spam bot.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know if I want to kick them off.
Oh, that was the same one that was on there.
Yeah,
Thursday.
Could be.
Find yourself.
I mean, it's nice. It's nice to see that spam bots have deserted from the Russian army and fled the Ukraine.
Nice made it, pal.
Either that or they're recruiting.
Yeah.
Well, considering the ad, yeah, they might be recruiting.
The thing is, I don't need to go there. I've got one down the hall.
Yeah.
I was watching. I keep getting these. I keep
typing. And I don't have to pay for the. Well, okay.
Yes, you do, liar.
Rich is traveling down a very dark road right now, and I'm not going to say a word.
That's a green room topic. We will table it until we can.
No, that's a blue room topic. Very blue.
I've been following along with the Russian war in Ukraine, and it's like that. So I keep typing in Ukraine this, Ukraine that, and now I'm getting this: meet single Ukrainian women. Okay, it's just all over my face, all over me. Yeah, just from typing in Ukraine. Okay, and I'm like, I keep reading these things. Just this is funny, and I keep typing in. It says. I'm waiting for Ukraine to kill off all the Russian men so that there'll be plenty of hot Russian women.
To borrow from Larry Niven, think of it as evolution in action.
John, now I'm thinking of the old Wendy's commercial from the 80s where it shows the Soviet women swimwear, and it's big heavyset woman holding the beach ball, and evening wear, and she comes out with the big flashlight.
There was this commercial over here in Chattanooga that actually just resurfaced on the internet. There was this guy in this chicken suit. He's
Okay, first of all, Carrie, we know this guy.
ooh.
He works locally.
Mhm.
Okay, I think me and Joe went to high school with him. I might be wrong about this. Okay, but he is also a local radio personality. I don't know if he's still on radio or not, though. He
I
still
don't
does advertising and local music. He's still big in the local music scene.
Wow.
Okay, so next
So is he a
time
cop in high
Joe's on the
school
show,
too?
the next time Joe is on the show, ask him about this commercial.
I totally will.
Hey, Carrie.
Yeah.
Tell Joe that I told you that he was the guy in the chicken suit.
You know Joe's going to watch this show in the morning when he gets up.
I doubt it. But
No, he's going to want to.
just
He's
next
going to
time you
want to
see
see.
Joe, mention that there was a used car place down in Rossville, and that they had this guy in a chicken suit that would come out and, do you need cash? Do you need money? And say, was that you in the chicken suit, Joe? Just
Back in the 80s, we used to have a restaurant that briefly took over an old Marty K, and Donna and Carl, and I even believe Sarah might remember Marty K restaurant here back in the 70s and 80s. But the one in the east end of Danville went out, and somebody opened up a different restaurant. It wasn't even part of a franchise or anything, but they called it Ducky's. And probably one of my brother's most hated people got a temporary job to dress up in the yellow duck suit with yellow tights and the big floppy duck feet and all that, and would stand out there much like the guys from Little Caesars with the guitar, telling you about the latest deal by doing the flips with the cardboard signs and that are shaped like guitars and whatever the sale on the pizza is at the time. And that's what this guy was doing. And then my brother found out who was in the duck suit. And I mean, they terrorized. I thought my brother was going to go to jail that night. They terrorized him so bad, but he got through it. But yeah, it was the most embarrassing. And I don't know how much money they offered him to go stand out on the curb to do that, to try to get business to come in, but it could never have been enough.
yeah.
Oh, true confession time. This was back when I was still in the SCA, back probably before I left college. There was a local guy who had an alternate identity as basically, if you remember the Gong Show with the unknown comic.
Oh, yeah.
He had somebody that he called the Mystery Burgundian, which, if you know anything about the SCA, that would be ringing a bell right there. But he was going to be given an award by the powers that be, and he wanted somebody to step into the swim fins and whatnot, or the rest of the costume, and do the character while he was there as himself. I mean, you never see Clark Kent and Superman in the same room together with well, I was playing Alfred to Adam West, Bruce Wayne in this instance. So they asked me to do it, and I did. And I got out there, and I'm trying to think of the most smart aleck things I can say, and I go, wait a minute. As soon as I talk, everybody will know it's me because I've got a very distinctive voice. So I did it as a mime. and everything was body language and gestures and whatnot, and it worked extremely well. It was a brand new take on the character, and nobody knew it was me, thank goodness, up until now, um, except for the 2 or 3 people that were in on it at the event. And basically, I had a pillow under my tunic to make me look like his size, and the costume included swim fins, and
I'll
I
second.
had I had to interact with the one of the local um, royalty, and he's going on and he's going on and he's going on. I'm just finally I started tapping my foot with the swim fin on, and Casey picked up on it right away. He just looks at me and goes, "Don't flap your flipper at me," and that was about the funniest bit. And then when it was time for me to leave, I was doing a moonwalk out of there, kind of jumping up in the air and covering 10 or 12 feet at a time, sort of thing. But in
Oh,
full gravity, so it was only about 3 feet at a time. But
I thought you were going to say that you were doing a Michael Jackson moonwalk, and I thought in swim fins you would have to be pretty
no,
talented to do that.
I'm good, but I ain't that good. Nope,
Now,
nope.
you mentioned Murray or the unknown comic. I almost gave it
uh
away. You know his real name.
I know two or
I
three
kind of
people that
just told you part of it.
I know 2 or 3 people that have been outed, but I don't know the actual fact.
This is factual. The unknown comic that was on, and it was verified by George Veris himself before he passed away. Murray Langston III.
I know
And
that name. I know that
yep,
name.
get ready, Dan. Are you? Because I only say this for you. He is a friend of mine on Facebook, and if you, he regularly posts things daily, and you want to talk about blue room style jokes, Murray, I don't know how he doesn't get dinged by the Facebook bots because some of but they're hilarious jokes.
Uh,
Oh
the,
my
the,
God.
the trick is to make the bots laugh.
Oh
And
yeah.
if you can get an AI to laugh, you're doing good.
Oh, he's wonderful. And I asked him one time, I said, I don't know if you respond to messages in Messenger or not, and if you don't, I apologize ahead of time, but I got to know, are all those things said about George Veris the truth? And I can't remember, I kept it for a while, but instead of saying, yes, it is, yes, he did all that stuff like what was in the movie, or no, that's, bullshit. It was nothing like that. He came back with one of his unknown comic style jokes to give me the answer to it. And I laughed so hard I totally forgot about the question. It was his unique way of diverting
Uh-huh.
it, the question.
That's not a chicken pot pie. That's a chicken pot coffee table.
No, well, it's not actually as big as it looks on camera.
Yes, it is. It's bigger than it looks on camera, I'm sure. But
Chicken pot turntable.
Holy cow.
It's Independence
yeah,
Day.
It's 33 and a third there, Dan.
It is not 9-inch pie pan. Come on.
Chicken pot pies I'm used to seeing are 45s.
oh, this is not the Green Marine Bill. Don't give me straight lines.
Like I say, we're going blue room tonight.
No, we're not, because
It's after
I'm
midnight.
Hey, I am able
Well,
to self-edit it.
your time it is, not my time, but it's late enough. The kids are in bed.
This show
they're
is this show is very important to all of us here in the on the screen and the two people that are still watching. Uh,
That was what I was trying to remember. The name of that car place was Happy Motors.
oh,
It's not called that anymore, I don't think.
Didn't they go out of business or something?
No, it's still there. It's just not called Happy Motors anymore. I think.
oh, go out of business. We had furniture stores down here that have been going out of business for almost 50 years. They're having their final sale every week.
They didn't say how
Every
long
week.
the final sale was going to be.
Every week, going out of business, final sale, everything must go, and it's like, dude,
They
I
didn't
remember
lie.
this from the 70s.
well, it's either working or not working for the reason why they're continuing to do it.
Thank you.
Evidently, they're able to pay the rent. I mean, seriously.
Oh, so speaking of businesses, Thursday night on the show, I was alluding to our Habitat resale store that horribly caught on fire, and there was even an explosion. Now, apparently, they're going to open back up next week. And I'm like, well, I was talking over with Laura and little sister Jenny there about it.
No,
Jenny was telling me there's
no. Fire sale, everything must go.
Yeah. Well, apparently in this building, which was originally a grocery store, it was a block building, they have 3 separate firewalls within the building. This is what saved the little bit over half of the merchandise in the building. Now, I still thinking, okay, furniture like Barca loungers, things of that nature, anything cloth, I'm sure that had to go for at least because of smoke damage.
Maybe
There had to be
whether or
smoke.
not smoke got over there.
Mm-hmm.
Even if
It
smoke
may,
got over
may or
there,
may not have, I don't know. But the whole south side of the building looked normal. The north side of the building, and I totally forgot, there's a Sherwin-Williams paint store
That's probably what exploded.
within feet of it. And I don't know how that thing never blew up, but it didn't. But yeah, so we're kind of telling people around here, hey, help donate to get the resale store open back up. And then Jenny's telling me tonight at my niece's skating party, yeah, they're going to do it next week. And I actually drove by there today on the way to the skating rink, just to kind of look. I hadn't been by there since the fire. And I'm like, what fire? And I see a few little scorch marks. And
the thing about the restore is, if it didn't burn too bad, they've got all the building materials they need to rebuild the store.
yeah.
Really?
Well, they have the Habitat store over in Champaign, Illinois, they had just recently moved. They used to be down on University Avenue next to Dallas and Company, which was the biggest, hugest costume place. It made Party City look like a convenient mart. And they just recently went out of business because the owner was retiring, and not due to lack of business by any means. But the Habitat resale store was right there next door. They actually had to move out of their place. And I thought, well, what a wonderful, they could just move next door into Dallas and Company costumes. But they actually moved across town in a similar, what used to be a grocery store. I think it was an IGA or something. But anyway, and it's huge. It's as big as a Walmart. I mean, and you can get furniture, not so much on clothes, but you can, get any kind of building material there, appliances, everything.
Yeah, I got a dryer from them and a stove. The dryer was like $75, lasted 8 years.
Hey, that's pretty good.
I look at it this way: anything that I buy, if it gives me a year for every $100 I spend on it, I'm happy.
Well,
Which means furnaces need to last forever.
Yes, really. I'm going to get up and walk around a little bit. I'm going to leave the headphones on, the microphone on. The chair will be empty, but I'm still here, so I'm not going to close out the camera.
If you go into one certain room, turn the microphone off briefly, and then you can turn it back on when you leave that room. But
I have already taken care of that necessity. I just need to get up and walk around so I can last the final 30 minutes of the show.
Carrie, after a slight bit of research, as of July of this year, that company is out of business. There was nothing in there's somebody working in the garage there, but it is not a business. So, it's for lease though, if you're interested.
Okay.
Hey, there's an idea. We'll start a crowdfunding. We'll get some money in. We'll rent the building, and we'll do Stupid O'Clock Studios from the original Happy Motors building.
That would be pretty epic.
It will be, because we're going to put you in the chicken suit, Carrie.
Yep. Build a coop. Carrie's coop. And here we are, live at Carrie's coop.
Okay, that's.
Now
here's the funny part. We may even know who rented him the chicken suit.
I cannot.
Right now, I'm pretty sure he doesn't give a cluck.
Carol spinning, maybe. I don't know.
That was utterly typical, Rich. Thank you. That was excellent.
That joke laid an egg.
Oh no, it didn't. No, it didn't. It got a laugh for me. Squawk for super chicken.
So the question is, was the guy a cock in high school as well as in the costume?
Pretty much. Anyway,
man, talk about all the cock and bull tonight.
Really? Let me see here.
Who you calling chicken? Oh, now I've got the theme from Roger Ramjet going through my head. Thank you, whoever suggested.
No, not Roger Ramjet.
Yeah, it started.
You're close.
It started off with Super Chicken and mutated. I'm telling you.
Super Chicken, yeah.
Oh.
Super Chicken.
Yes, it just reminds everybody that they don't have to see me for me to be doing weird stuff in the background. Oh, family friendly weird stuff. Thank you.
When you hear Dan start bucking in the background, and he's not on camera.
Super Chicken and Underdog would never make it on screen today because of the depiction of needing to consume some type of drug. In the case of Super Chicken, I believe it was a cocktail, and with Underdog, it was the inside the secret department of this ring, which I feel like my super secret energy pill.
How about
and Roger Ramjet the same way, his proton pills. But
see, people like Georgia the Jungle and Tom Swift didn't need that kind.
Mighty Mouse that had the powder that he had to snort.
I thought it was the cheese he had to eat, but that was the origin cartoon.
Yeah, I actually put a Mighty Mouse on today. Not the origin. One of
those in years.
Well, I did a Super Saturday thing on my Everyday's Saturday Facebook group, and I put old Superman, Superboy, all the Filmation, Lone Ranger, or not Lone Ranger, I'm sorry, the Flash Gordon, and Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle, and all the Filmation, Justice League of America, and Flash, and Batman, and Superboy, and Superman, and just on and on and on. I did both versions of X-Men, both the late 80s versions and then the more popular 90s versions, and and all the goofiest dang superhero related commercials, like for Superman peanut butter from the 80s, or the Superman PSA where it shows this guy dressed in a top hat and has a snidely whiplash mustache trying to give the kids drugs in the parking in the school lot or schoolyard, whatever. And Superman comes and grabs him by the collar and just whips him up in the air, and the guy goes flying with it. It's like, and somebody made the comment as saying that's the only time ever in my life that I've seen Superman kill somebody by just throwing them away. And you
Cutting in on my Hostess fruit pie action here.
oh man,
There was a Filmation Lone Ranger, wasn't there?
yes,
I
I
thought
almost
so.
put that one on there. Lone Ranger, and there was a Zorro one too.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That one was harder to find. It wasn't as widely distributed for some reason.
Well, if you go in to that Facebook group, not today, but I'm thinking the last weekend, I put both on there. Zorro is hard to find on it. Well, it didn't last very long anyway.
No,
There for a while.
It was only one season, as I recall.
Yeah, they had you know how they would tie several cartoons together and call it the such and such and such hour.
Hour.
One,
yeah.
One's it was the New Adventures of Batman Tarzan hour, and then it was because that was the New Adventures of Batman had Adam West and Burt Ward doing the voiceovers on it, but they were using the old 1968 Filmation animation of the Batman and Robin, and then just kind of remixing it to make new cartoons for 1977. But then they when the New Adventures of Lone Ranger or Legend of Lone Ranger, whatever it was called, came out.
Rangers?
Yeah, no, that was earlier, but it was also Filmation. But they had at one point they had a Tarzan, Lone Ranger, Zorro hour, and I'm like, you knew every one of those episodes were 22 minutes long, and how could you fit 3 of them in 1 hour with commercials? You know.
Yep. The thing I liked about a lot of the Filmation stuff from that period was the animation was done on the same rotoscoping technique that Ralph Bakshi used for
Ralph Bakshi did Mighty Mouse.
Yeah.
That was, and he's a big fan of rotoscope.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying. The animation looked extraordinarily fluid because they actually had footage of a live actor to do the drawings from. Live actor didn't have to be in costume. Live actor didn't have to actually swing through the jungle or ride a horse, but the animation was extraordinarily well done for Filmation. I mean, seriously, they were not the best paying company in the world, but
now Lou Scheimer and Norm Prescott will be upset with you for that. But no, the ending credits for the New Adventures of Batman and Tarzan, Lord of the Jungle were always the best, because it was always, while they're running the ending credits, you saw Batman swinging on the bat rope and doing flips over flag poles and jumping from one building to the other. And then, of course, Lone Ranger or Lone Ranger. Tarzan was doing the same thing, swinging through the jungle on the vines
Mhm.
and flipping and jumping from branch to branch and that. But it was wonderful. And even take it back to 1970 to the Groovy Ghoulies. When you would occasionally throughout there see Drac, Frankie, and Wolfie kind of running, and it would show one kind of getting ahead of the other one, and then the other one would get ahead of them. That was that same very fluent rotoscope that
Mhm.
you would see later in all the other stuff.
And that's a fantastic technique for that sort of cell animation. It
It
really
still is. Of course,
and
I'm
didn't 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 the Fleischer brothers use something similar for the original Superman cartoons?
mhm.
Because that had that same fluid look to it. But they totally different color palette and everything. Because
the
trying to do a comic book rather than trying to do um oh Lord. Now you got me. Now you got me off into a very deep canyon here. Um, I'm remembering the original black and white Popeye cartoons with the Fleischer brothers Fleischer Studios doing that, and those things were surreal.
oh
I
yeah.
mean, seriously, you had to wonder what kind of drugs these people were on, and they were doing it in what, the 30s, the 40s.
Yeah, that and novel tunes the same way. Actually, Dan, I aired one of those Fleischer Brother Popeye black and white. I do a thing on every day is Saturday called Late Night Black and White cartoons, and I'll either do like an old Merry Melodies with Porky Pig or something, or old Disney or whatever, or old Fleischer Brothers, and yeah, it was really unique. And a lot of those people jumped ship and went to Disney, or jumped ship from Disney and went over to Fleischer, and or some of them just independently worked for both. And
Yep. I mentioned
there's
there
a
were a few that went over to Walter Lantz, and some of them went to Hanna-Barbera as well when those
mm,
came along.
Oh,
Um,
what's the fellow's name that took a bunch of the Disney people and did All Dogs Go to Heaven
oh, okay.
and
Now
a few of the other.
that's out of my league. So
Hang on a second. I'll look
I
it up.
know the one you're talking about, and I can't I
And
can't
I
think
can't
of it.
think that, and it's I'm terrible with names. I do apologize.
hey, I just noticed we're cutting Rich and Kerry out of the conversation here. So we should find another topic because
No, you're not cutting me out of the conversation.
Don Bluth is the fellow. And
I remember a lot of these cartoons.
oh well, good. I'm glad that everything's
I'm not
working out.
far behind y'all. We might be leaving Kiri in the dust, but
Hey, um,
Carrie's back there wondering, when are they going to start talking about anime? Come on, guys.
Don Bluth was the animation director, or he kind of took over the mantle of animation director after Walt Disney died. So after Walt died, he was the man, and he did animation for The Rescuers, which was Disney film, Pete's Dragon.
mhm.
Okay, The Secret of you see,
Secret of Nim.
yeah,
Penguin and
all
the
the
Pebble, I
animation
think.
Disney was producing at this point was not up to par with the great works of Disney, and there was rumor that the production unit at Disney might be shut down indefinitely. They were going to quit doing hand-drawn cartoons, and they were getting into movies. They had Touchstone Pictures and stuff like that. So, in retaliation, Bluth and several other animators led a walkout and went off to form their own independent animation firm. And their first one that they did on their own was Secret of Nim. And then
Which would have
gone
been a
on to-
huge asset to Disney.
they did 2 video
American
games.
Tail, Land Before Time.
Mm-hmm.
Dragon's Lair, the
Mhm.
video game, and Space Ace, the video game, were both Don Bluth's. Let's see.
And they both eventually became Saturday morning cartoons.
Yeah, here they are. And then An American Tale was Don Bluth. Land Before Time with the dinosaurs was his. They did a Little Mermaid.
Pebble and the Penguin.
Oh no, I'm sorry. When Disney brought out The Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast, Bluth had to compete with a Goliath. Disney actually got back into doing animation again. You see, and of course, Bluth did All Dogs Go to Heaven. They did Rockadoodle, Thumbelina, Anastasia, and Titan AE.
Yes.
Oh, that was a very complex movie for being an animated one. I mean, the script was. It was a very good story.
Well, they blended
great
multiple
voice actors.
multiple styles too. There's
Yeah, they
lot
did.
of CG, a lot of hand drawn stuff. I mean,
It was all over the place.
As a writer, I'm saying the story was really good.
Yes.
And the artwork did not impede the story one bit.
And any movie that has John Leguizamo doing voice acting is an awesome movie. Yeah, that's just all there is.
Okay, you got to throw Tim Curry in there too.
Tim Curry would have been a good one there too. You know, I could see him doing a voice of an alien. He should have been the evil alien in that one.
He was probably busy doing Mighty Max and a few other things at the time, but
Wild Thornberrys probably.
no, this was pre-Wild Thornberry.
Well, no, Titan AE and Wild Thornberrys were about the same time frame.
If you
late 90s.
If you've never seen Mighty Max, that one is. I have a soft spot in my heart for that. That was one of those things that I go, this is entirely too cheesy, but I just love it. I mean,
Guilty pleasure.
I love the part. Oh, I love the part in Titan AE where Drew Barrymore's character Akima gets shot, and he's trying to get all these people to help with him. And this one old lady who's running the, I guess, rescue operation, for lack of better, comes over taking care of the girl and goes, "Quick, get whiskey!" And the boy looks at her and goes, "What's the whiskey for?" He says, "Whiskey's for you. You're about to pass out."
Joss Whedon is one of the writers for Titan AE.
Was he?
Yeah. Ben Edlund, John August, and Joss Whedon. Story
Edlund,
by
I
Hank
know that
Fowler
name.
and Randall McCormick.
Oh, and Kiri, anime, Speed Racer.
Yeah, anime goes way back.
Yeah, Gigantor.
Goes
Astro Boy. I used to get up on Saturday mornings to watch a test pattern for 30 minutes before I got an episode of Flash Gordon or Buck Rogers movie serial, and then Astro Boy came on, and that was the height of my weekend right there.
Let me tell you,
Star Blazers.
I remember sitting
Voltron
there with a bowl of Lucky Charms, watching that test pattern, wondering, who the hell is that Indian?
Me. Well, I'll tell you, the first animation that really tripped me out since the Filmation rotoscoping in the mid-late 70s would have been Robert, I think his last name was Balzer or Bowser. I'm not sure. I think it's BALSER, something like that. But anyway, the animator for both of the heavy metal movies. And I think he also did, or if he didn't, the other people were emulating him when they did American Pop. And
that was Ralph Bakshi.
Yeah.
Ralph Bakshi did American Pop?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And Cool World and
Cool World, yeah.
Oh.
But the first heavy metal movie, man, and I mean, both of them were really pretty good, but
Wizards.
The first one was absolutely the best. And of course, the soundtrack to the first heavy metal movie was excellent.
Well, the soundtrack to both movies were excellent. I mean, the second one was not as jaw dropping and really just engrossing as the first one, but then it was because we had seen this premise work extremely well earlier, and the follow up didn't nudge it up into the next gear the way we
Yeah.
hoped it would.
Go
Now,
figure. It was
Bakshi
Canadian.
Bakshi also did the early 1970s Spider-Man TV series.
Mm-hmm.
That's and then a few other like
Oh,
Lord
the
of
one with
Rings,
Nicholas Hammond.
Wizards.
Oh, Wizards, yes. If you, oh God, I actually got to see Wizards first run in a movie theater. Oh,
You know what's funny? Ralph
Spell
Here's-
Mom taught me.
here's something Mom taught me when you weren't around.
Fire and Ice is a good one too. But it's kind of funny. One of Ralph Bakshi's credits, he was the animation director for the movie Cannonball Run 2.
Oh, that was the one with the flying car too.
That's probably
Hey.
not one of the ones that he wants people to remember as much.
I miss the
Excuse
Cannonball
me,
Run
I
movies.
love those. I
I love the
those.
first one. There was, well, it's kind of like watching Caddyshack and then Caddyshack 2, when all the people in the first one wasn't in the second one. You're going to be a little bit disappointed.
Yeah,
There's
it's
probably some good parts in it.
It was somewhat of a pale imitation. Yes.
Oh
Yep.
yeah,
but you give me Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. in the same movie, and I'm going, take my money, please.
But I love the part in the second one where they had the cameo with Frank Sinatra.
Mhm.
That just made the whole movie right there.
Mhm. I mean, this is in the same genre of film that you would have had earlier with It's a Mad, 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 Mad World. You know, it's just it involved fast cars
Right.
instead of a treasure
Yeah.
hunt.
and well, that would have been like The Great Race.
Yes, yes, the Great
Tony-
Race. That's and
Tony Curtis and Peter Falk and on and on and on and on and on.
and Jack Lemmon. Yes, yes.
Yeah, Jack Lemmon.
Hit the button, Max.
But
Three Stooges.
the
Any movie where the Three Stooges make a cameo and don't say a word. It's
right.
Mhm.
And
Oh,
what's his name did say a word in
Marcel.
Marcel
Marcel,
Marceau in,
yeah.
in Mel Brooks' silent movie. Yes, indeed.
Mhm.
He was
He was the only
only
actor
person
in the
that
whole
said
movie,
anything.
and he only
I
said
saw
one
that
word.
in the movie theater when that first came out. And I went on a double date, and both of our dates was pissed beyond belief because nothing was being said. And I'm like, but don't you get it? Don't you just watch it? Don't you? And they were over it. They were like, when are we leaving? Shut up. Good part's
Nope.
coming up.
I can't hear what
When
they're
the
saying.
after credits scene rolls
Yeah.
at the end. Oh,
Yeah, exactly, John. I can't hear what they're saying. Now be quiet. But like all the Smokey and the Bandit movies, and that.
yeah.
I was on board for them all until Reynolds left, and you had Jerry Reed
Now I like
dressing
Jerry
up
Reed.
like the Bandit. I
And I-
love Jerry Reed, but
What I love the premise behind it is that they couldn't get the bandit to come back in time to do the mission.
Right.
So he did it by himself.
And
But-
it's hard to make a run like that if you don't have a scout in front of you.
I'll tell you who I really thought made the movie, or well, I would say made it, but just tied it all together was Big Enos and Little Enos.
Oh yeah.
I think it just made that much more sense and in the way that they played off of each other too. It was much like, Dan, how you mentioned Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr. playing off each other on Cannonball
Mhm.
Run.
There are things that
Well, you also had that were great plays against each other in Cannonball Run. You had Reynolds and Dom DeLuise that,
Mhm.
you know, Captain Chaos.
Yeah.
Oh no, he's off his meds again.
And when they met up with Dean Martin and Sammy Davis Jr., and I won't repeat what was said, but I will repeat what Sammy said. What did he call me?
He called you a midget because you're
Yeah.
short.
Oh, yep. There are things that are. It seems a shame, but they seem to become generational.
Yeah,
Later
never
generations
would
are
be able to make those movies today.
later generations are either not going to get the joke or going to be offended.
Exactly.
Mhm.
And if you're offended, see you. Wouldn't want to be you.
You know, if
And
Sam
if you don't understand it, ask your granddad. He will.
if Sam Kinison had not been killed in that car accident, millions of Americans would have died just from having to listen to his routine with the attitudes that we have now in America.
Heads would have exploded.
His heart would have
So
exploded.
Well, this is what I tell everybody. Randy Newman would never have done You Got a Friend in Me on
You
Toy
would.
Story if he hadn't have done Short
movie?
People first. Short People is what
Oh,
catapulted him.
Have you ever heard that song, Kiri?
What, you got a friend in me?
No, Short
No,
People.
Short
Same
People.
guy.
I don't think I have.
Okay.
My wife hears it
Um,
all the time and gets pissed at me every time I sing it to her.
another one of Randy Newman's that
Short people got no reason to live.
another one of his that pissed off a bunch of people worldwide was Political Science 101.
There
No
was so
one
much stuff back
listens.
in the
I don't know
70s.
why. Oh Lord, we'll
People,
save Australia.
Now, Short People, yes, it sort of made Randy Newman that you know, but I love L.A.
I Love L.A. was his big
That
breakout thing
that's
on MTV.
well, MTV, yeah, but he did Short People on SNL, and that had a
Mhm.
bigger audience at the time by comparison. What was that,
Well,
77, 78 when that came out?
I
And
don't know if.
then I Love LA came out, I know early 80s, but
Mhm.
like 83, 84, something like that. I think it wasn't, I might be screwing this up. Was Cheech and Chong in that music video of this? I know Cheech and Chong.
I think so.
Well,
There's
they had that movie,
You
but
wouldn't ask me Googling questions that that involve reviewing a video in the last 7 minutes of our show.
oh yeah,
I Love LA released in 1983.
83. Okay, there you go.
Album Trouble in Paradise.
Yep. And Randy Newman also came up with a hit that was very big for the guy that sang Mac the Knife. Bill, help me
Bobby
with the
Darin.
name. Bobby Darin. Yes, thank you. Um, and it was
Damn it,
called
Dan, now
Sail.
that's stuck in my head.
It's called Sail Away.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah.
yep, that was a really huge hit back in the day, and nobody knew that it was Randy Newman until much later. He also did a song for Linda Ronstadt that was one of her big hits. I mean, prolific songwriter. Um, is one of those folks that stayed in the background like Warren Zevon did until they actually came out and did their own act.
Well, Chris
Mhm.
Christopherson was like that too.
Yeah, yeah,
Of course,
Yeah,
Willie Nelson was like
very
that too.
much.
for a while,
And
yeah.
Neil Diamond and
No,
I heard at the skating rink today. Okay, they're blasting the skating rink with all the hip hop music and everything, as you can imagine, for the kids. All of a sudden, when they're changing the songs, it comes to Neil Diamond's the song from the one movie with Drew Barrymore and that it got popularized again. The Wedding Singer movie.
Oh, I know it wasn't Brother Love's Traveling Salvation Show, which I can still hear on the radio today.
No, not Song Sung Blue, but well, anyway, it was, my point is, it was a Neil Diamond song from the 70s. And we were watching all the kids skating in that, and I'm watching my niece Kayla skating with her friends, and they're singing along with this Neil Diamond song, and I'm just floored. I mean, I know kids are getting back into vinyl and all the 70s
Sweet
stuff.
Caroline. Thank you, Chris Walker.
Sweet Caroline. There you go. Thank you.
I used to have to play
Boom,
that.
boom. Yeah.
That song came on, and Laura and Jenny and I just kind of looked at each other like, what?
Time warp.
Bum, bum.
By the way, the P.O. Box 9847 reference was a Monkey song, Dan.
Oh.
I meant to tell you that. Or I just thought of it again because of Neil Diamond's I'm a Believer.
Well, folks, I made it almost an hour and a half still being able to sit in the chair. So I think I'm doing pretty good. But standing up.
Maybe Thursday.
Hey, Dan, you need to get one of those ropes and string it across like your bedroom and like put your arms over it and sleep like that. You know, they used to do that in England like 150 years ago.
Yes, I know. It was
because
called.
They thought that sleeping lying down would give you tuberculosis.
No, because it was a cheap way to get a place to sleep in a place that was like a dormitory that had 500 people in a 50 square foot room.
My patriotic sock puppet has one star eye and kind of puts me in the mind of Paul Stanley from Chris. Or from Kiss.
Yes.
Chris was in the group too, so anyway.
Get a couple of people together and make Kiss sock puppets.
Oh, God. Oh, we may have...
No, don't do that. Don't do that. Gene
we
Simmons
may have the patriotic sock puppet for Thursday, folks.
He will sue you. Believe me. He will sue you over anything. That's why we didn't mention the Berserk robot movie while we were going through movie trivia.
Rod Hull and his emu.
Oh, and the Hudson Brothers. Oh, shut up, Bill.
Razzle Dazzle Show.
Right, Rock City. Okay, there we go.
Sock puppet may look different come Thursday, folks. Make sure you tune in.
You're finally changing your socks. Okay. It's laundry day, isn't it?
I bet that's his
Jim Varney would say.
Damn it, Dan.
Vaya con Dios, amigos.
Okay, we've got 2 minutes left in the show, folks. 2 minutes left.
Oh, I thought it was 2 minutes after.
Oh
my God.
I wish I could sit down. I'd love to do Last Man Standing, but evidently I have to do it as the only man standing.
Kept telling you, Last Dan Standing should have been the name, and now you got a reason for it to be.
Yeah, but
literally,
I'd have to move the camera way up here.
Here he is. Hi, I'm Dan Hollifield, and welcome to Last Man Standing.
The Christmas tree has arrived at Rockefeller Center.
Oh, okay.
And they erecting it today, or they erected it today. So there's
nice.
Beginning to look a lot like Christmas. All right, guys, thanks for hanging out with us. This will end another broadcast of Stupid O'Clock Saturday show. I'd like to thank everybody that was here. I'd like to thank Joe, even though he copped out like within the first 45 minutes of the show. But I'd like to thank Dan for standing in for Joe. pun intended. Like, and Bill, the ever effervescent Bill Sartain. Kiri, thanks for showing up and being the youthful face of Stupid O'Clock. And Rich, I don't know what the hell to say about you, man.
Hey, the big
Most people
man don't need nothing from us.
No offense, but if I
Blue
grew my
Man
hair-
Rich.
If I grew my hair, beard, and mustache out, I would be rich. Yeah, that's just all there is to it. We've even got the same damn sword. How weird.
Wolfman,
Yeah.
Wolfman Rich.
All right.
I am writing the werewolf book.
Yep.
Yeah.
All
You got
right.
a new nickname. You're gonna have to change it on your little thing there.
All right. All right. Say good night, everybody.
Good
Good night,
night, everybody.
Bye, Candia.
Oh, I have slipped the surly bonds of earth and danced the skies on laughter's silvered wings. Sunward I've climbed and joined the tumbling mirth of sun-split clouds and done 100 things you have not dreamed of. Wheeled and soared and swung high in the sunlit silence. Hovering there, I've chased the shouting wind along and flung my eager craft through footless halls of air. Up the long, delirious, burning blue, I've topped the windswept heights with easy grace, where never lark nor even eagle flew. And while with silent, lifting mind, I've trod the high, untrespassed sanctity of space, put out my hand, and touched the face of God.